why write a book for your business specifically, right? We know why authors write books, but
Yeah. Yeah.
why for a business, or if you're an expert, like help unpack that a little bit more.
Sure.
Share a little bit more about the standing out piece.
Sure, absolutely. Well, number one, it opens other doors for you. I remember you mentioning how just from writing your two books, it opened the opportunity for you to speak.
Yes.
So if it lands into the right hands, it opens up other opportunities for you, which means that puts you in front of your audience even more.
Yeah.
The book can go places or will go places that sometimes you won't get to, right? And then number two, it opens up other doors for you. Number three, it definitely positions you because then you can expand that book. You can expand on the one item, and now you can create a course that aligns with it, which gives your client or reader more information or more help from you. And then you can decide you're going to do a coaching program from it. The part that I really love is the series. I think that more coaches, authors, and experts can really position themselves and show their expertise because now they just don't have one book, but now they got a second book or a third book. And it just pushes them out there even more in front of more people, which in return helps them make more profit and more revenue and transform more lives. I mean, that's really the unpacking of it right there. That really is.
Yeah. So share that a little bit. I think you're one of the few people that I've heard really talk about this idea of a series, but what do you mean by a series? And if I'm somebody that's thinking about writing my book, what is a series? What is the value of the series?
Sure. So there's an author now that has, I think it's called the Millionaire Mindset or the Millionaire. Let me grab it because I have it up here. It's actually the Miracle Morning
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah.
by Hal Elrod. He has about 20 books in this series.
Yeah.
Listen to this. He also established a community. So his Facebook group is, I mean, it's going,
Popping.
it's popping.